Okay. And it is April 29th, and this is a meeting of the Municipal Scholarship Committee. And it looks like there's a quorum. Sherry, Cindy, Melanie, and Eric are in attendance. And I'm going to mute myself and you guys can take it away.
Does anybody have the agenda from the last meeting so we could just approve approve the minutes from the last meeting? Because I don't have that written down. I know Darcy had it.
Is Darcy joining today?
I thought she was.
Darcy usually has the notes, so.
Can we
Yeah.
progress?
I haven't been given a copy of the minutes. Oh, wait a minute. I might have the minutes from last time. Let me see if she sent them to me.
Thanks.
April 8th.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so, I'm putting them, all right, so let's see, they're on my screen. Maybe, I'm wondering if, should I try to put it into the chat? So that everyone can see them? I don't know how to do that.
Yes, you can share your screen maybe. Maybe that'll do it, but also
I'm just really hesitant to share my screen.
that would make a lot of sense on a publicly recorded.
You know what I mean?
Linda, would you mind just forwarding those in an email to me and then maybe
Yeah,
I read them
yeah,
out loud and then
yeah,
I
sure,
will
I'll
go
do
from
that.
there.
I'll do that.
I came into this meeting very unprepared in my own personal definition of unpreparedness. I had not looked at any of our data, any of our application stuff, but I have a lot of good news. So I can't wait to share these minutes, approve them, and get to the good news I have to share.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm sending them to everybody.
That's great. No problem.
Okay. And I apologize for I didn't capitalize A in April. And then the S, trying to rush. I hate that sort of thing, so. Okay, so hopefully you got them.
It'll take us a minute, when
Sure. So, can we have a volunteer to take the minutes this evening?
Sure. I can do that.
Sherry, did you say that you would do it?
Yes. Yep, I'll do
Okay,
that.
great. Okay, so Sherry's taking the minutes. Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
I still didn't get your email, but let me just double check. Oh, I got it. Cool. All set. All right. So past minutes, it looks like we approved the minutes from 325 in attendance for this. Sorry, for April 8th was Eric, Shari, Darcy, Cindy, Melanie, and Linda with the quorum attained. The minutes of 325 were approved. Committee discussed outreach to potential applicants. A notice has appeared in the Somerville newsletter. We shared other possible pathways to getting more student attention. We talked about the Somerville patch and highlighting our scholarship opportunity there. And then we talked about edits to the application via Melanie and her experience. So thank you so much, Melanie, for that. I worked with Dan to get the corrections on the city site. Questions about the QR code and the flyering. And then finally, it looks like this was sent out also to PTAs and the Facebook, some of our high school friends of the school. We've put we talked briefly about our agenda for the next meetings around financials, scoring process, and updates on applicants. And then our next meetings today and on May 13th. That is everything from our last meeting. So should we move to approve them?
Yes, approved.
Thank you. A second, and that's great. Cool, Linda. That's all set. Thank you so much. I will happily start off with our, sorry, I am now lost in my tabs and there it is. Great. So then we wanted to talk briefly about financials, I believe. But maybe that's an email to you, Linda, about what the number is for our budget at this point. I can get that, and if you relay that to me, I can put that on our documents for the decision process. And just, I think we're looking for 5 applications. But I think we just wanted to know the number of the total budget we have left for this next scholarship process. So Linda, I think what I will do is email you and request that number, and then we'll go from there, if that's all right.
That's fine with me. I just sent everyone the agenda.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's close to $100,000.
Got it.
I don't
Okay.
have the exact number on me, but
Awesome. No, thank you. I think that's plenty. And also the agenda, now I have it too as well. Thank you. Okay, and then got that now. And then the scoring process. I'm happy for the scoring process to show folks our previous scoring process, which I can pull up 2 different forms for that. One is our form that's in SharePoint. I can drop that into the chat for folks to look at. Let me just go ahead and find it within the SharePoint for the policies. That was. Got it. Okay, here it is. Sorry about that. It took me a second to find the newest updated version. Actually worked, Brandon and I from Brandon for Lee Somerville High School Scholarship Association had previously pinged me on the policy, and I had sent it over. And so let me go ahead and just share my screen, and I'll show it to folks here. Actually, I think it's trying to open a Word document, which is very upsetting. Bear with me here. Currently, oh, there it is. Okay. So I will share my screen here and show folks our analysis of. Oh, Linda, could you just approve sharing screen? That's going to be in the little security tab.
okay, security tab where? I'm not seeing anything. I don't know where to look for that.
Should be on the bottom bar. It should be just like a little shield looking thing. It's like
So I got mute, start video, participants queue, share screen.
yeah, share screen permissions. Yeah.
Okay. One participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share simultaneously. I just selected that. Does
Okay.
that work for you?
That works. Great. Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you so much, Linda.
All right, my pleasure.
So here it is. It should be spooling up now on your screens. This was the application review. And so what we were looking at in particular is the review below. So these eligibility questions, right? These are the ones that we've operated from. These are the questions that were provided in the application itself. This is also where we clarify that there are 5 awards, which is a flexible standard there. The weighted points we have here just a collection of ways in which we are assessing the students' work experience, activities, down the list to academics as well. So then from there, we can go to a guideline for those ratings. We wanted to, in our previous iteration, pretty straightforward about, GPAs and contributions. And so we made a pretty, very straightforward sense of what a 1 through a 5 would be. Here for the academic ratings, highlighting the equivalency to a GPA rating. And this is only using the cumulative weighted high school GPA, trying our best to identify students both who take APs and honors, while also acknowledging those who may fit a different path through high school and may have taken different types of coursework that may or may not have a weight to it. Any questions there about academic ratings? All right.
No,
Okay.
but can we go back to page 1 for a moment, please?
Yeah,
So the only thing we need to take out is we're not using any references.
Right.
So where it says primary reference, so we can take that out.
yep. I will take that out. This is a old copy, so when I upload it, I'll take it out, but I'll note that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take out references there. Anything else? It looks like everything else is pretty standard there. And I think the context ratings were meant to actually be 2 separate things here. Sorry. So educational career objectives and then context ratings there as well. And I'll explain what the context ratings are in a second. So the student contribution scale, right? I think that this is a big range of what students are going to contribute to this in terms of applications and in terms of their bandwidth and ability to focus on a scholarship application in the midst of graduating from high school. So we want to acknowledge that there is possibilities of folks leaving things incomplete. We also want to acknowledge folks who have done the work that we ask, which is to highlight Somerville and its deep importance to the student, detail the post-high school plans, as well as, have some, really good writing as well. And impeccable writing is definitely assessed not on style or syntax. I think it's just mostly about what the reader is seeing in terms of its sort of overall connections to the prompts that are asked, as well as what the delivery of that is. So we're looking towards just being as open-minded as possible when it comes to this work. But I think in particular, the biggest thing that I think students can do is really highlight the deep importance that Somerville has to the student, and can highlight connections in a way that's thoughtful and really conveys to us the connection they've had with the city. So that's definitely what a 5 would look like. Of the 4, obviously not a ton of difference, but I think the biggest one being the clear writing styles there as well. Any questions on student contributions? And I've already shown you the context rating, so maybe folks are reading down below a little bit ahead of me, but that's all to say. Please let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow here. All right. So I will move on to context ratings if there's no questions about student contribution scale. So the context rating was a rating that I sort of essentially, in trying to solve for what was our primary concern in the past, which is, in our first year creating this application and the review system for it. I think one of our biggest worries was, how do we highlight the significant differences that can occur in the lived experience here within the city. Oh, Darcy, yeah, no problem. And so we wanted to be able to facilitate a rating or a score or a set of acknowledgement within our own analysis of each student's application, to be able to assess what are the socioeconomic and contextual characteristics that may define that student's journey. I mean, whether that's shared through their writing, whether that's shared through their activities, whether that's shared by the teachers themselves and their advocacy for the student. We saw many forms of that in our first year. And so this is part of what I hope also leads us to fulfilling the goals of the district and the goals of the city to further open up opportunities for young people who are graduating from our high schools here, graduating from school, and are just residents of Somerville, really, who are hoping to improve their circumstances and the circumstances of their family. And so, as you'll see here, examples of additional socioeconomic contextual factors are what receive that, that 10. And I think that there are many definitions for it. And I think at no time are we, specifically only looking for these 10 items or 8 items, right? I think there's definitely space for context to be built, for a sense of new definitions to be added to this list. I think it's primarily an example and serves to do so. And relative to the rating of, having no additional context rating, as I highlight here, we don't want to hinder the student for not having those 10 points. And so, if we rated them 1 or 2, that would mark something as a deficit, when in reality, X is just simply to represent that they did not have a value for this context rating, where a 10 is automatically given to a student who has any of these factors, given the fact that we need to prioritize these folks and in demonstrating our support from both the city and from the district itself towards students who face these different factors throughout life. I have not revised this, is why when I say I came in unprepared, I just am reading this again for this year's review process, but this is what we operated from last year. So I'll jump off the mic here, but any questions, thoughts, any revisions in the brain?
I just want to acknowledge Darcy has joined the meeting. And Darcy, Sherry has started taking minutes. I'm not sure if you're prepared to continue on so that Sherry isn't doing that.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Sherry. Yeah, I can take
Mhm.
over if you'd like me to.
Okay, so then we want to
that's fine.
update the attendees. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Eric, the only thing I see is very little, which is the very last line on the 3rd page is on a free or reduced lunch program. And we discussed that the state has allowed for free lunch for everybody in Massachusetts now, so it's not applicable anymore, I don't believe.
Got it. Awesome. And we will just decide to take that out and move it as we need to. I also think, again, this is a living review document when we do the reviews, right? I think there's things we should definitely type in here and maybe do a better job. For myself personally, based on this rating system, of informing it based on just our City of Somerville reading experience. I know last year was our pilot year for this whole thing, so I'm holding myself to a new standard here, but that's to say, yeah, I'm happy to review these factors and these contextual factors that we can improve them as we continue. But yeah, thank you. Anything else on this or on any of the aspects of review? Darcy, we were just going and flowing through the applications review process.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I will stop sharing this. This document will now live in the Somerville SharePoint. In our SharePoint, the city has provided for us, and we will be sure to provide that link out to everybody, folks to be able to see. We will start that reading process in our next meeting, and we'll talk more about that soon. All right. So then the application process, any questions about the application? Anything's come up, Melanie, in your reflections with some of the students? Anybody brought up anything at the high school, or has anyone else heard anything from any students or any other family members?
We've shared it out in multiple ways, and it seems to me just sort of like anecdotally that students are filling it out. I did have one question that I sent to the, to the general scholarship email, and I think Sherry got back to me, someone did, but that we have a student who's graduating from Somerville High School, is enrolled in Somerville High School, but because of circumstances lives outside of the city, but was allowed to stay in Somerville Public Schools, and he was wondering if he was eligible for the application for the scholarship, but it sounds like he is not. So other than that, I don't think other major things have come up on our end. A lot of students have been asking about the transcripts and how to get their transcripts sent. So I've just been telling them, just upload a screenshot and then I'll take care of the rest. So
okay, thank you.
once we have whoever's we need an official transcript of, I can send along.
And maybe let's note that for next time. I think there is a world where we just be better at those directions, to be honest with you. I think that just there's some lack of clarity, and happy to do that. Happy to provide that more. But yeah, no, and also, you know, what we did last year, and what we'll continue to do throughout this process is, you know, emailing students directly and emailing the school and saying, or, you know, emailing their school and saying, hey, you know, they've applied, their application is incomplete due to this, you know, not having an official transcript or what have you. And I'm happy to, you know, follow up with those folks individually and hopefully track that information down too. Anyone else hear anything about applicants or things around applying?
I don't know if anyone else had a chance to go on, but I went on and I read 20 applications. And I think we just got another one today, so that makes 21, and tomorrow's our deadline. So we have gotten, what, 4 times as many applications this year as last year. So the word is out. And it's skewed towards Somerville High School students. We got a few from, for those of you who haven't looked at it yet, a couple from Arlington High, but unfortunately, a few people, one from Arlington Catholic. Couple of people sent in their transcripts but never filled out applications. So I sent out 3 emails to all of the schools. My latest email, I believe, was the end of last week. I don't know if you guys think it's too late to send another one because tomorrow is the deadline. But I think if they were going to send an application in, they would have done it already. So we have transcripts and no application. But yeah, I was pleased overall, just as a sidebar, that we got so many interested students and from kind of all different backgrounds. Some very involved in academics and clubs, some more so from the career and technical school, which was really cool to see that. And I think, you know, everybody should be really pleased at what we're looking at. A question I had was last week that maybe we could put our brains together on is how do we keep their anonymity while we're discussing this online? I know we were able to number the applications last year, but that might be a somewhat daunting task. And I'm just wondering if anybody thought about how we're going to proceed with discussing applications without identifiers.
Yeah, sorry, I'm happy to cover that. I think it's going to just be a question of just automating some random number generator numbers and giving each student one of those instead of their name, and then, you know, shifting over the information in the reading process, right, into a more anonymized and that, you know what, more of an anonymous spreadsheet than the one that we currently offer and operate from. That's kind of what we did last year anyway, because of the difficulty using Dollars for Scholars. So it's not a heavy lift for me at all, and it's something I can definitely do before sometime this, you know, on Friday, I think is when I'll probably get to that. Actually, no, I'll do it on Friday and I'll get it all done then.
All right, so that'll be just something that you send in the SharePoint, or
Exactly,
is that
yeah,
the way
I'll let it live there. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's just going to make life easier for everyone if I just do a little bit of that, just logistical processing before we dive into the reading process, because I anticipate we can start reading independently as of Saturday. But again, that's hopeful based on my schedule, which is, sorry, again, I think my emails, I've been replying a little later. It's been a little bit of a hectic month or two.
And let's just discuss also our deadline for making our final decisions and how many scholarships we'd like to award. Last year, I think, did we award 6 and we thought we were awarding 5? Is that you know, do we want to be flexible again, or do we want to stick with 5?
I'd like to say
Depends upon what we see with the applications.
I'd like to stay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I just was going to chime in. I think we should do at least 5, but I think that having that flexibility is nice.
Yeah, exactly. Flexibility is nice. I don't see it going over 7, but I think at the end of the day, there's more applicants, there's more people we can help. There's no reason for us to not take a student who we see in the pool who we think would be a great addition. Oh yeah, Shari, you stole my good news. 20 applicants almost now. Yeah, 4 times the amount of
21,
applicants.
yeah.
That's huge. I love it. I'm so excited and I'm just so overjoyed at the fact that the students are receptive. And I said read some of the writing recently and you know, I'm just really, you know, it's exciting to think, you know, these students saw the link and jumped on it and submitted their information and you know, they went to you, Melanie, and were just like, oh wait, I have this problem. It all I hope we're not making your job any harder, Melanie, but still it's been great to see those applicants come in.
No, not at all. It's been great.
And our deadline for returning answers to students, is that still June 1st?
I want to say yes. I think it's a question of bandwidth and if we can do things a little faster, but again, I think that's going to be dependent on all of our schedules. So we have the meeting on for us for the 13th, and we have another meeting being held for the 20th, or I have a date hold for the 20th and 23rd.
I
So
didn't know that. Was that virtual also?
no, it's more of a tentative one that we had mentioned. We hadn't even put that anywhere. I just on my calendar,
Okay.
something that we were like kind of holding in case we needed it. But I, you know, I do anticipate that maybe we can get through all of them on the meeting on the 13th, but it may take a little bit more of a fairly strict hey, we need to read by folks need to finish reading by the 13th to come to that meeting prepared. So that's my thought process on that. Folks, how do you hear that? Is that
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to go in having read everyone's. I mean, that gives us 2 weeks to read, right?
Right.
And then I imagine that we could make our decisions that night.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Great.
Do we want to keep that meeting virtual? Is there any advantage to chatting in person if we can get a room?
It might be easier in person. I think it'll just go quicker.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Sherry, or are you able to come in person? Wasn't
So, being as objective as I could be, I might not be able to attend at all. However, I could certainly send in my, my scores for the applications and we would still have a quorum. So I think schedule it in person and I'll think good thoughts that I could be there to join you, but otherwise I will have my applications read and scored by that time.
Okay. Does it make any sense to reconsider that date? Because so I have my final review boards that day. They're supposed to end by 5, but that's I'll be in Boston for that though. So it could potentially be a little tight for me. Should we try and revisit a different date that works for everybody? Because I feel like it's really important to, all be able to have that conversation together.
I
23rd?
I am on vacation the week of the May 13th as well. So if you keep that, I'm gonna ask the Deputy Treasurer Cheryl Cruz to attend so she can be the host. Or I could give the password information to Eric. But I'm happy to set up a meeting and ask the library for their space again if you change it to in person and to another week.
Okay. May 1st is my last Wednesday evening class, in case Wednesdays are better for anyone. I would be available the 8th or the 15th or the 22nd.
So Wednesdays aren't good for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do any of those Wednesdays.
Okay. All right. Never mind then.
What does Thursday, the 16th look like for people?
That's my commencement.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
that feels
no.
important.
Yeah. But the 9th, no, sorry.
What about
9th
the
also not good.
Thursday, the 23rd. I love Thursdays because we have to work until 7:30, so I'm always partial to that day.
I
Um,
can't come on the, I have something on the 23rd, but if other people
Yeah.
can, I can read it, whatever.
I have family in town.
What
Would, if
about
we
the-
did what about the
Mon-
20th, the Monday? Just pushing it back 1 week.
That's fine with me.
That works for me
Monday, the
too.
20th, if I could be there, yeah.
how about the 21st, Tuesday instead? Because I can't do the 20th.
I can't do the 21st.
Okay, so I will ask the deputy treasurer to attend on the 20th.
Or
Well, see,
are we
hold on.
trying to do it in person though, or?
To try to reserve the library.
For Monday, the 20th, correct?
Yep,
Yes,
yes,
Okay,
Yeah. Does that work for everybody except Linda?
yes.
Cindy?
well,
that
actually,
work?
maybe you might not need her.
Yeah, if it's in person.
It's in person. Okay, all right, Monday, the 20th in person. I will find out from the library and I'll get back with you in the morning as soon as I get information, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
6 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the 20th, I've held that there. I'm all good to go on my calendar, and we will wait on the word on the room. Linda, if they come back from the library and are saying that their room is not available, it would be totally fine if we post it in your office. Is that correct?
Yes, and if that's the case, then I will have Cheryl stay. But I'm gonna shoot the library an email now.
Got it.
And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cancel the online meeting that's scheduled for the 13th. Okay?
Gotcha.
That sounds great.
Cancel.
Thank you.
Okay.
So selection process, we will do, I think the rest of this, I'll detail in in an email to everyone that I'll send via Linda, outlining the reading process, outlining again the scoring process, and everyone is reading everybody. I think that's more than just fair. And then the actual submission of ratings will happen again through Google Forms. And so each individual applicant will have their own Google Form page where you will provide the ID number of each of the students to score them. So I will build that out and have that hopefully by the weekend, folks. Again, it's just updating a couple of things from last year, but again, similar process of reading, using the scoring sheet and the scoring process sheet, and then sending those scores through the Google form. Yeah, that should be done hopefully Friday and Saturday of this week.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah. Then we've already updated on the scholarship total applicants of 20. We are at a number, it reads as 22, but it's 20 with a pair of the duplicates and the test clients that we have in there. Obviously I think we're all really happy to see such a increase from last year. Any concerns or any other ideas as we hit the final day of application of being able to apply?
I would just, if it follows the trend of many of our application process, and I would expect an influx tonight and probably more like tomorrow night.
All right. So
That's
then,
actually exciting.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes,
Oh.
that's just the way that the teenage brain works.
it's a great brain. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
It is, but I wouldn't start working on anything until because the numbers might increase.
That's why I'm holding, and I will keep it open. The application will stay open until, I mean, the deadline for it to come down is set by the web designer. She actually set up a nice little the link will go away from the page on the morning of the 1st. that said, if someone's in there, someone has it open, it's not going to close on them and it's not going to tell them they can't apply. But I'm pretty sure we don't want to take anyone beyond like Friday. So if I see somebody come in, right, like Thursday, send me an email and they want to get it done, you know, I'm not going to necessarily send them the link, but if it's a student telling me he's currently using it and has put everything in, I think being flexible with that type of student was being proactive would be nice as well. So, but tell me if I'm wrong. I think that's the only, I don't mean to bend the rules, but I also know the teenage brain.
I mean, I think it makes sense to not close it 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday night. I wonder if maybe it's just like a note, you know, that it was in
Mhm.
late, just something for people to be aware of when they read the application. I don't know.
Yeah. Or even put like request, you know, if you have a question or, you know, coming up at the deadline, you can email us as well. So I'll put that in. I'll mention that to Dan when it won't turn off Wednesday at midnight yet. It'll turn off Thursday in the morning, I think is the story there. And so I'll make sure that that there's a note that goes up when it closes on Thursday morning. I'll email Dan about that right now, actually. Great. Moving us to our last agenda topic, comment or questions regarding the application, required information, anything, folks, that we can help with. I also see that we have an attendee, which is great. So if you have a question about our process, please feel free to put it in the Q&A. Okay. There are no questions. Any other thoughts or anything we should add to our agenda for next time? Because our next meeting officially now is going to be the 20th, correct? Okay. So we'll read until probably the 4th and 5th of this weekend until the 19th, 20th.
Right, with the goal of on the 20th that we have 5 or 6 students to reward, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And I'm just double checking. If I am not in attendance, it is legitimate for me to put my scores on SharePoint.
Yes. Well, the scores will be, remember, you're submitting them through the Google form like last time. So the scores will all be recorded.
Oh, right. Okay, Eric. Yeah, thanks.
So everything will be recorded for you already. There's no need to worry about whether or not
Okay,
in the right place for everyone. It'll be all centralized still again.
right. Thank you.
Anything else, folks?
Yes, I've pulled up the agenda for the next meeting. And I just want to go over it and make sure that we have everything. So we're going to start with an update on scholarship total applicants to date. Number 2 is applicant selection process review. Number 3, updates on scholarship total applicants. And number 4, comments or questions regarding application and required information. Now, the open meeting law folks are really giving me a hard time about having the agenda reflect reality, and they didn't want to take the this agenda that when I was setting up the meetings, you know, I got some pushback. So I just want to make sure that this is still accurate.
So I'm just typing up what is essentially the app. Oh, I just pressed enter too quickly.
So I have update on scholarship total applicants to date.
Yeah,
And then
and I'm gonna
applicant selection process review. And
Yeah.
then I have update on scholarship total applicants, which is kind of duplicative of number 1. And then comments or questions. So I'm happy to just type it right here. I have the agenda open in front of me, so I can just type it in. Unless you want to email me something that I'll just copy and paste into this document and then resend it with the date change, asking them to cancel the 13th.
I mean, I think it would be application reading process review would be the first one, which is just a short Q&A between all of us about how the process went and, you know, what we can think about. Number 2 would be finalizing scholarship recipient decisions, I guess.
Okay, so I have number 1 as application process review, and then
Mhm.
number 2, applicant selection process review.
Applicant selection, actually, scholarship recipient selection is what we actually want to put that as.
Applicant selection, scholarship,
Yes, or yes.
scholarship process review, applicant selection, scholarship process review. I'm not sure that makes any sense.
No, it would just be, typing in the chat right now. Scholarship.
You're making it difficult. I wanted you to just dictate it to me so I could just.
Number 2 should just be scholarship
That's-
finalist selection. It shouldn't
What's
even
that?
include the word process anymore. It should just be
Okay,
scholarship
so
finalist selection is number 2.
applicant selection review. Scholarship review, applicant selection scholarship review.
No, just scholarship selection. We won't be reviewing
Scholarship
at that point. Yeah, scholarship selection.
So
Yeah,
how about that? Okay.
Yeah.
so
that's better.
2 period. Scholarship selection. 3, we don't need, you want to keep this updates on scholarship total applicants, or shall I delete that?
Delete that. It should only be those first 2 things.
Okay, so, and then, comments and questions for number 3, or delete number 3?
Delete number 3.
Okay, so two agenda items. Application process review and scholarship selection. For Monday, May 20th, 2024, 6 p.m. To be determined, most likely library, because she has never said no. Worst case scenario, Treasury office.
A third agenda item could be just the communication plan. So once the kids have been selected, just kind of next steps in terms of reaching out.
Communication plan has been added. Anything else?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to close this document. Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to mute myself.
Great. Anything else, folks? Any other questions, thoughts? With that, I give you back 15 minutes. I think we're all good. So I will update folks over email this weekend with the reading process outlined in text. Please feel free to email me back, give me a ring, give me a text if you have any difficulties with any of the technology. We'll mostly just be using Google Forms to be inputting, but everything will be read through the SharePoint system online. So yeah, anything?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to
Thank
stop
you.
the recording.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Okay,
you.
meeting
Bye.
adjourned. Thank you.